we'll work with pattern brushes. And pattern brushes are made up of separate sections or tiles. And when you apply a pattern brush to artwork, different tiles of the pattern are applied to different sections of the path, depending on where the section falls in the path. In the Brushes panel, I'm going to show I'll show pattern brushes and then deselect show bristle brushes so that we're just looking at the pattern brushes. And I will, I'll zoom in on the cabin and I want to double click one of those yellow line paths to enter isolation mode. So now we're in isolation mode and we'll be working only on those yellow paths. I'm going to click the Brush Libraries menu button at the bottom of the Brushes panel. And I'll go to Borders, and then over to Borders Frames. So there we have some interesting pattern brushes there. I'll click the List mode from the panel menu. And I'll click on the pattern brush named Mahogany to add it to my main Brushes panel. And then in the Properties panel, I'll click the Options of Selected Object button to edit the brush options for only the paths that are selected on the artboard. I'll change the scale to 70%, and then I'll click OK. I'll click the Escape button to exit isolation mode, and you can see that that mahogany pattern brush has been applied to those strokes, and it now looks like wood siding there on the cabin. Now we'll create our own pattern brush from some artwork that has been done for us. So I'll choose the third artboard, which has some artwork on it with light bulbs. With the selection tool, I'll click the yellow light bulb group. And then I'll click the panel menu icon in the Brushes panel, and I'll choose Thumbnail View. And you can see now how each of these pattern brushes is made up of individual pattern tiles. In the Brushes panel, I'll click the New Brush button. And I want to be sure to select Pattern Brush and click OK. And so here is the dialog for the pattern brush. You can see that it's giving us a preview of what this is going to look like when applied to a stroke. But we have lots of different options. In the dialog box, I'll change the name to Lights. And you can see that we have different options for different tiles. And depending on what we choose for those tiles affects how the pattern will be applied to the path. And pattern brushes can only be made from pattern swatches. I'm going to click the outer corner tile box, the drop-down menu to see the various options. That's the side tile. You can see that we really only have one option there. But for the outer corner tile, we have several different options. And you can see how the corner will be affected by the different options that we have. I'm going to choose the Auto Between from the menu. And you can see how that changed how the corners look. That looks better, so I'll just click OK. I'll deselect the artwork, and you can see that we have a new pattern brush in the Brushes panel named Lights. I'll go back to the Artboard 1, and I'll click the straight green path on the cabin. I think I've selected everything there. I just want that one green path. I think I need to zoom in a bit. I'll deselect everything so that I can just select that one green path. So now I've just selected that green path. And in the Properties panel, I want to make sure that there is no fill and no stroke. And then with the path selected, I'm going to click the Lights brush in the Brushes panel. So that applied the brush there. It's not quite what we want yet, but we'll work on that. I'll deselect that and choose 3 from the Active Artboard menu. I'll also open up the Swatches panel. We're going to use another piece of this artwork to modify the pattern brush. And I'm going to select that second piece of artwork below the yellow light bulb and just drag it into the Swatches panel. Because first we have to create a pattern swatch so that we can work with the pattern brush. So there it is in our Swatches panel. I'll deselect that. I'll go back to the main artboard, and in this Brushes panel, I'll double-click the Lights pattern brush to open up the dialog box. I'll reduce the scale to 20% because those bulbs are a little bit large right now. And then I'll click the outer corner tile box. Click the drop-down menu and choose the new pattern swatch 1, which I just created. And you can see now how it's changing how the corners look. And I'll click OK. And now, since I've made changes to the pattern brush, I do want to apply them to the strokes where they have been applied. And now I'll zoom in so we can see what's happening. And the light bulbs are much better scale now, and they fit the way they should on that artwork. I want to apply this light bulb to the green frame on the door, so I'll select that. I've selected everything there. I need to deselect that and only select the green stroke there. There we go. And now I'll click the lights brush in the brushes panel to apply it. And there you can see that we've created a nice brush with those light bulbs around the door. So there's a little bit of work with pattern brushes.